Parshas Toldos, Tavshin Pei Gimel. Okay, indirect from Yerushalayim, Mirakoides, Bimher B'Yameinu, Tibane V'Sichon, Bimher B'Yameinu. Parshas Toldos here. There's an amazing beginning of Parasha, which really truly makes no sense. No sense at all. And you're all not going to understand the question. You're going to take the puzzle. I don't think we're going to be able to go over more than the first puzzle. It says here, Ve'ele Toldos, Yitzchak ben Avraham hoilid es Yitzchak. Have you ever seen anywhere in the Torah, anywhere in the world, that we're going to talk about the descendant of a person 20 years before they are born? This is a lie. At that time, Yitzchak has no Toldos. So why do you start the Parasha by saying the Eile Toldos? He's only going to be 40. You're going to see the next pasuk that he's only 40 years old. He's going to have Yaakov and Esau when he's going to be 60 years old. So why do you start the Parasha with the Eile Toldos? I mean, did you have to? Did you have to shovel this inside us, telling us that if you didn't have these words, you couldn't start the Parasha? I also have a problem, staying on Toldos. You remember by Parashas Noach, all the Mefarshim, it says, Eile Toldos Noach, a very, very similar Lashon. And they all asked, yeah, but they didn't mention the children right away after the word Toldos. And then Rashi had to explain that the Maisim of the Tzaddikim are considered their descendants. So that's why it says, here nobody asks nothing. They're never going to be mentioned as descendants, at least in Noach, in the first pasuk, right after Ish Tzaddik Tamim V'Bedarisam, no, the next pasuk, by Yoiled Noach Shelo Shabanim. You mentioned his descendants, and at the time you said Eile Toldos Noach, they were already born. Here, we're never going to mention these are the children of Yitzchak. Not going to happen. It's not going to be mentioned in the whole Parsha. Don't look, in the whole Torah, it's not mentioned. So why do you stress the fact that you want to talk to us about the descendants of Yitzchak? And where are the Mefarshim that had a problem with this language when we talked about Noach? Why don't you have a problem with this one? Oh, they're all going to have a problem with the following words. Yitzchak ben Avraham, and Avraham hoilid es Yitzchak. That's a repetition. If Yitzchak is the son of Avraham, automatically Avraham gave birth to Yitzchak. Yes, that everyone fires up on this. But in truth, I don't have a big problem with this. I have a bigger problem with, you want to tell me Yitzchak? I'm fine. Then Avraham is the problem. The other words I have a problem with is hoilid. What do you mean he gave birth? This is a rough language. You want to mention that it's his father for whatever reason, we'll see later. But here, it's like Rashi explains, what happened is the people, the jokers, the Leitzanim of the generation used to say, Sarah gave birth from Elimelech. Why? Because she lived so long with Avram that she couldn't have children with him. Automatically means she got pregnant from Chazasham, from Avimelech, not Elimelech, Avimelech. Number one, since when the Torah is going down to the garbage to see what the rats are talking? Do we have to disprove the rats? Do we have to disprove the Reshaim? No, we don't pay attention. Number two, Sarah was already in the Torah says she was menopaused. So these guys are just idiots. How can she get pregnant after she is menopaused? It's impossible. So why is the Torah feel the need to reply to those guys? And finally, the first word, the main thing for me is going to be today, the Eile Toldos. We're going to stay on those words mainly. By Noach, he says Eile, and it's explained because it's a change from what was before. All the generations before were Rishaim. And when you say Eile, Rashi Parashat Mishpatim from the Midrash there, Eile means you cancel what was before. It's a new page that's starting. Ve'eile connects to what was before. Scratching my head. You know what we spoke about before, right before that, at the end of Parashat of Sarah? We spoke about the 12 princes of Ishmael. You want to connect me the descendants of Yitzchak Avinu to this Ishmael? No, should have said Eile. So far with the Reshaim, those are going to the klipa of Ishmael, the klipa of the chamor, of the donkey, and from here on starts Adam, the people that are to the image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He should have never said Eile. He should have said Eile. Just for the sake of it, we're going to see that. I'm not going to have time to get there, but we're going to see that, and you should learn this. It's a very strange beginning of the Parasha. Vayhi Yitzchak ben 40 shana. Yitzchak was 40 years old. It's important to you to know that he was 40 years old, or he was 37 or 36, or okay, he was 40 years old. Tremendous learning about his 40. And it's connected to the side that we learned about. I don't expect you to remember about the word, the number 40. What is the number 40? But anyway, he was 40 years old. Bekachtoi es Rivka, when he took Rivka. The truth is, Yishmael was sent as a shaliach to betroth Rivka. So he already had betrothed her before. When you come and repeat me, it says clearly in the pasuk, "Vayikachloi es Rivka leisha." Why do you repeat me again here the story of Rivka that he married her? But already when Yishmael took her, that was l'shem kiddushin, in order to marry her. And then here we're going to go with the pedigree. Bas Besuel or Rami. She was the daughter of Besuel. Oh, really? What a news. From Aram. Oh, he was from Aram, Mipadan Aram. Oh, not a repetition. No, it really tells me specifically who he was. And then if you don't understand what we're talking about, even though we gave you a GPS, she was the sister of Lavan Arami, because he was also from Aram. He was a brother. To tell you that his mother didn't give birth in any different place, he was in Aram. This whole process, and now he takes her loy leisha, to him as a wife, because you might think he took her for someone else. This whole process doesn't have a beginning, it doesn't have an end. Let's start the share. Let's see how far we can go, B'ez Hashem. The Zohar Kadosh in Parshas Pikudei talks about the the first moment when Rivka met Yitzchak Avinu, something tremendous happened. And it's written in the Pasuk, and the Zohar has a problem with it. It says in the Pasuk, Rivka raised her eyes, Batisa Rivka Seneha, she raised her eyes. Look at the Lashon, but we can't dig into everything. Vateres Yitzchak, first of all, she told the Eved, Vatoimer El HaEved, she told the Eved, Mi ha'ish halaze, who is that person? Ahoylech basade likroseinu, who's walking in the field towards us. And Eliezer answered, this is the master. This is Yitzchak Avinu. This is who you would take him to be a wife to. She saw him and she fell off the camel. The Zohar says, why? What's importance is it? This whole Indian. What? She got shocked because it says, the Zohar says, the beauty of Yitzchak was like the beauty of Yosef HaTzadik. Just to tell you, since Yitzchak has the same face of Avraham, so you understand the beauty of Avraham Avinu through that also. But just to the point of the Zohar, that don't start thinking that she got impressed but by the beauty of Yitzchak. So why did she fall off the camel, and why did the Torah felt the need to relate that seemingly, unimportant event? The Zohar explains, and this is where the shir starts. This is the point that we're going to take with us. This is from where everything is going to come out. Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basabi. Yitzchak, the Midrash says that lasuach is lashon tefillah. Whenever you see lasuach, is lashon tefillah. So Yitzchak went to pray in the fields. Says the Zohar, it was the time of Mincha, at the time when the dinim are, it's very simple. When it's daytime, it's chesed. As you're getting closer to the night, the dinim are starting popping their head up, and the chesed, exactly like the sun and the moon, and the chesed is moving out. That's why the Ari HaKadosh was not cutting his hair in the afternoon after the time of Mincha, because the hair is a din, and this is a din also. He was only cutting his hair in the morning, and so forth. There are many. That's why the Ayala also shlucha before, at the end of the night, before daybreak. I'm not talking Zman Tfilin, I'm talking about Alois HaShachar. There's a 20 minutes, which is called Ayala. Ayeles HaShachar. It's before, but this is a time where the Chasadim are coming and breaking through the dinim. So a momentum is created, and it's a tremendous time. The 20 minutes before daybreak are a tremendous time to be learning, to be found learning, because whoever learns at that time, HaKadosh Baruch Hu connects him to Olam Haba directly. That's the concept. So when I see Jeff learning with his chavrusa at that time, makes me proud. Anyway, so when it's the time of Mincha, that's why at Kabbalah we prefer to daven Mincha Gdoila rather than Mincha Ktana, because Mincha was instituted by Yitzchak, and the purpose of Mincha It's to break down the dinim, not that we shouldn't be affected. When do people make most of the chataim? It's at night. Why? Because this is when the Nachash rules. So Mincha is the first tefillah that removed the carpet from under the feet of the din, the Sitra Achra. Told you last week, Sitra Achra equals 480. Lily, the wife of the Satan, 480. That's her. She comes and she reigns at night. So the Nachash, you see the bump of the camel go like this, exactly like a snake. And Rivka she understood, she was only 3 years old. She understood exactly what Yitzchak was trying to do, and she helped him. By falling, we're going to see what it means, because the Zohar tells us only she fell off the gamal, which resembled the serpent. So how by falling down from the camel did she help Yitzchak, which on a daily basis, the duty to remove the dinim was on him, and now Rivka comes to his rescue, like his mother used to do, like Sarah Imenu used to do, and she helped him, and she's done it like just easily. Yitzchak had to go in tefillah. Rivka Imenu, she showed her strength at that moment. That's what the pasuk hints. That's what the Torah relates. That event, which again doesn't seem so trivial. Here we see one point, that Rivka Imenu was able to see things that, usually very learned people and big people basically can see and can understand. She was 3 years old and she's done it as if it was just the wipe of the hand. And she, the Midrash said on the pasuk, I'm going to show you the pasuk because we're going to speak, a lot is going to come out of that pasuk. Yitzchak ha'oheira. Right away, after that event, Yitzchak brings Rivka ha'oheira, Sarah Imu. He should have said Shel Sarah Imu. The Al-Sheikh HaKadosh himself has a bunch of questions here. And he says, grammatically, this hey should have never been there, because ha'oheila, oiheila, or ahola means the last hey is instead of a lamed, la oihel, to the 10 of Sarah Imol. But you see here, it's missing the of. It's almost like if there's a comma here, or period, Sarah Imol. The Midrash explains here something incredible, that when Rivka arrived to the Orihel, to the tent of Sarah, right away, four things have happened. The Shekhinah came back onto the Orihel. As she walked in, the Shekhinah was already lying on top of the tent, number one. Number two, she went in, she lit that ner. That it lit exactly the same way as Sarah. And it remained lit like this until the next Erev Shabbos. Only by Erev Shabbos, she has to relit it to rekindle it. The Isa, when she used to do dough, the challah, the mitzvahs, nida, challah, She was betahara. In other words, he has realized that she was not under the spell of the Nachash. Because any woman that doesn't have that is not under the spell of the Nachash. And he said, Sarah Imoy, this is Sarah, my mother. This is the Gilgul of Sarah. It's not possible for another being to make the same, to reach the same level as Sarah Imenu, which we discussed plenty last week. And we see what level she was. So it says it's only possible. And that's why the Pasuk says at the end, Vayinachem Yitzchak acharei Imui. At that moment, when he realized that, he had a full nechama. But let's go now retake. I mentioned quite a few psukim. Let's go one layer under to understand what's the point of me telling you all this, first of all. We're gonna understand what do we do by just speaking. Supposedly, to a human, words don't hurt. Words, whatever you said, you can take back. Not true. A thought doesn't do nothing, has no effect. It's only a thought. It's not a mamish dika thing. It's wrong. It's much more powerful than an action. It goes much higher than an action. You remember, I don't know which Parasha was it we spoke about in Parshas Mitzaira. Hirurim Ra'im, bad thoughts. I'm going to show you this. Every so often I should bring it back. You take Hirurim Ra'im. Keser Elyon. The more spiritual is the thing, the higher it goes. And action is physical. It doesn't reach more than the chesed. When you do an action, you can reach maximum to here. An action cannot go up here because it's limited by the physicality of it. A thought goes straight up to here. A bad thought turns away the keser from you. Since all of them came out of the keser, they all turn away from the person. That's why by the Metzora, he's becoming a different person. His neshama, we saw his neshama leaves him. His ruach is not the same ruach from Kedusha, from the 10 spheres. His nefesh is not the same nefesh. He gets everything from Sitra Achra. Oh, he's the same person? No, he's not the same person. He's a different person. Everything that's inside him is totally different. So now we see, and this is what Rivka Imenu is going to teach us. Not only to watch our actions, to be trying to be tzaddik, not to be this and not to steal. No. Even within yourself, because everything doesn't start by the others, but the physicality is started by you. Who are you? Then automatically this is going to transpire and your action will be what you are inside. It's not your action on the outside going to make what you are inside. It's the opposite. You have to go. Let's see that. So it says in the Pasuk, Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basade. Yitzchak came out in the field. The Zohar, the Pardes Rimoinim, the Ramak, today, I was by a Mekubal and I saw a brand new Sefer of the Ramak. And that was printed from Xavier. It was not even printed. It was written in, it was basically getting ready for print. So I asked, can I read a little bit? So I was reading. He told me, yes. I said, can I take a picture of something? Because I had a question and it was answered there. He says, you can. I said, thank you. And then my eyes get caught by, he talks about his master, his Rebbe in such a language. I never knew that. You know who was the Rebbe of the Ramak, the Moshe Cordovero? Who did he learn by? Reb Shlomo Alkabetz, the Rechadoidi. I never knew he was the Rebbe of the Ramak. Just that information. It's always good to know the Shalsheles, how the Torah comes down. So Rabbi Chaim, you heard that one from my mouth. It's written in the Sefer HaGirushin that's coming out from the Ramak, and I have the picture. So let's go back to, so Yitzchak goes out to pray in the field. So the Torah is still telling us he's going to make mincha in that language. He's going to pray in the field. The field, it's always referring, the Ramak in Pardes Rimonim says the field, when it says Sadeh in the Torah, like by Asa, Ish Yodeya, Ish Yodeya Said Ish Sadeh. You see, here, wherever we turn our head, we can start digging. Why is Asa called Ish? He's a garbage. Ish is a person, it's someone that's a tzaddik. And Sadeh means the Shechina. So what does Esav has to do with the Shechina? Sadeh, wherever it's written in the Torah, Sadeh, it refers to the Shechina. But, says the Ramak, Sadeh refers to the Shechina when it's under the grip of the Sitra Achra. The Shechina is called a field, like exactly like a woman in the Gemara, it's called Karka Oilam. How would I translate this Karka Oilam? It's an not an international field, but it's a public field. A public field. So the Shechina also, when it's taken under the grip of the Sitra Achra, meaning the Shechina is not free, then it's called Sadeh. Sadeh equals 309. So obviously we have to find inside, that explanation. I want to show you this. Sadeh equals 309. Haraitseach, the Malacham Marvis. When the Sadeh, exactly what the Ramak says, when the Shechina is in the Bechina of Sadeh, it's called field, means the Roitzeach is there. Veim Basadeh, I can still finish just on these few words. I can finish the share on this. It says in Parshas Mishpatim, in Parshas Kiseitze, in Basadi, that he meets his friend in the field and he kills him. What means the field? Because it's always over there the Reitzeyach, which is the Malacham Marves. Now, Lasuach Basadi, what did he try? So he went to the field that was under the grip of the Malacham Marves and he tried to take it out. But Lasuach means to pray, just to show you the power of tefillah. It seems to be very, it's against the logic of a human, that if you utter words with your mouth, these words are extremely powerful to bring on you a response, a quick response to your demands. So, I'm going to show, I'm going to this. What do I gain from it? Really nothing much. Now, change your mind. When I'm going to shul, I'm going to meet HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Going to shul means going to meet HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How many people, the president even of a small country, would invite him to give him an appointment? The guy will be there way before time. When the kings of kings, you have an appointment with him, how much more so? So, and this is what the Torah is going to show us, because if you take the word suach, which means to daven, this equals, I didn't even pay attention, 314, no, 8 and 6. This is what comes to your help right away. The name Shakai from the Yesod, so the name Shakai is here, is the name that Yosef HaTzadik used to use right here. Comes and help you right away. Under this, under the Tiferes, Yud Ke Vav Ke, Shakai, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. Boom. You're being answered. And how are you being answered? Because the side of the name Shakai, Chazal say, where does this name come from? This name, when he pours on the person, he pours in a fashion, not by measure. You've been asking, oh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm in trouble, I need this and I need that. He sends so much bracha that you can't, your lips will get bloody by saying enough. This is how much this name, this is what you're accomplishing by going to shul. This is what you're accomplishing by any moment, any time you have. Say to Hashem with your mouth, not with your thought, with your mouth. Please, I need help in this and this. And you will see right away that you'll be answered. I can dig on again to give you a lot more on the word Sade, how many shemes it has in it and how many combination, but I think, we get the picture here that the Sade, why it has to be freed, because the Shechina, when it's freed from the Reitzeach, from the Shifcha, from the servant, exactly what happened with Hagar. Sarah is the master. She was married with Abraham. Then the Shifcha, Hagar, came and took a place. Why do I say she took a place? Because she could have been still submitted to her master and remain low profile. No. She started saying to people, I got pregnant, so it's not a problem with Abraham. It's Sarah, she's not a tzaddikus. What's supposed to bad mouth her? So the Shechina here had to be saved. Let's move on. We're gonna see a lot of other things now, and we're gonna go right into answering and going in the main part of the shir. The Zohar keeps on in Parshas Chaye Sarah. He said he took Rivka on the pasuk and he brought her into the tent of Sarah. Just to kind of relook at the pasuk quickly. The Zohar has a problem with this word. He says it should have been said la oihel. Ha-ohela is so grammatically wrong that he should have said la oihel of Sarah, as we asked a little bit before. So what does he say? Ha-ohela Sarah imo. These two hays that have been added basically represent the two Heys in the Yud Ke Vav Ke. Yud Hey, Chachma, Bina. First female, Vav, Yesod, no. Hey, Malchus, Bina Malchus. What is showing us here, says the Zohar Kodesh, is that when Sarah was alive, the Shekhinah never moved from there. Basically, to the point that the Shekhinah, she was so connected and she worked so much for the Shekhinah. Sarah Imenu, like we saw, she went to Paro by herself because Abraham was unable to. She was on a higher level. So that the Shekhinah is also called Sarah. And because of this, the many miracles that were mentioned in the previous Midrash, there's also mentioned then that the light was staying, and all the miracles. But when Rivka came, all these miracles came back. Tighten your seat belt, because what the Zohar says here is out of nowhere, beyond amazing. He says when people used to see Yitzchak, they used to mistake him for Abraham. He looked so much like Abraham Avinu that people used to say, this is Abraham. Because at the time of Abraham, there was no old age, there was no marks, the body was not changing. So Yitzchak, they remain in the youth. So until Yaakov Avinu, that prayed for that the body should get older. So Yitzchak and Abraham looked exactly alike. When people looked at Rivka, they used to say, this is Sarah. They used to mistake her from Sarah because she looked exactly like Sarah, Imenu. I can understand Abraham was Yitzchak was the son of Abraham, can resemble his father. But Rivka was not the daughter of Sarah. However, says the Zohar HaKadosh, she was the Gilgul of Sarah. When it says in the Pasuk, Vayvi'eha ha'ohela Sarah imoi, he brought her to the, so the title of the Zohar comes out, he brought her to the tent, and he said, this is my mother. Sarah imoi, this is my mother. Wow. Rivka was, I think we can prove it because it says in the Pasuk, when she was announced in Parashas Vayera that she would have a child, it says in the Pasuk, Vatitzchak Sarah bekirba, she laughed. She says, Achare beloisi. After my passing, I'm going to translate word for word. Haisali Edna, I become Eden, Oineg. I became again a rejuvenated. Understandably, we explained that after she menopaused, she again got back her youth. No, the pshat is Beloisi is a lashon of Misa. After my death, if you look in the Onkelos, he says that I will come back be'uleimu, in a young girl. Haisali Edna, I will come back. Amazing that this pasuk hints in the very beginning of the whole story, hints on the end that when she will pass away, she'll come back in. Okay, we have a lot of explanations to make, and going back into the words, I understand, this week I delayed a little bit, but since everything is correlated and we're going to explain them with one way, so a little bit more patient, and we're going to get there. Then it says in the Pasuk that Yitzchak took Rivka, and as a wife, and he loved her. Ask the Al Sheikh HaKadosh, you know someone who marries a woman that he doesn't love, that he really despises? No. So what he means, he loved her. Now, according to what we said, it's very clear. Because Yitzchak Avinu, for sure, he married Rivka because he loved her. He loved her as a husband. But here, there was something else. He knew that was his mother. He knew that was the neshama of his mother, and he could rely upon his mother now to redo the tikkun of the Shechina, like she used to do it for Avraham Avinu. And this was, and that's why it says right away after, Vayinachem Yitzchak achareinu. And Yitzchak then, gained consolation about the passing of his mother. The truth is, the Gemara says in my talk, a person should not exceed the mourning, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, do you have more mercy than I? Everybody is my son. And now HaKadosh Baruch Hu took someone, and the person says, mourns and overmoons and overmoons, like pretending that he has more mercy than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He brings the din on himself. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you don't understand, Chas v'shalom, this person will have another mourning. That's how it goes. Paid back. The passing of Sarah was 3 years beforehand. The Gemara says 3 days for cry, 7 days for mourning, and 30 days for haircut. That's the main mourning. But now we're talking, Yitzchak Avinu was 37 at the time of the passing of his mother. Now he was 40 years old. How is it possible that he was still mourning according to this Gemara? Okay, now we're going to start answering everything. And as I told you, it's a one-way street here. There's no possibility of making a mistake. Let me just write it down, because everything's going to come out of this one. I'm going to copy it. Where is it? This equals to 588, which equals to 13 times the Shem K. Now, 13 times shows always completeness, something which is whole. The name Keye is in the Bina. Whatever, the Malchus is always a receptacle. Like the moon, the sun. We spoke about it in Parshas Bereshis already. Whenever the sun shines, whatever light he shines upon the moon will reverberate the rays of the sun. That's the only light it has. Whatever the Bina puts in the Malchus, that's what the Malchus throws down to the worlds below. That's it. Why Yitzchak was not mourning after his mother is exactly as we said before. When he saw he had a breath, he felt relieved when he saw that Rivka was capable of achieving the same thing as his mother, because Yitzchak had to work on higher madregas, but on the Malchus, a woman can do better than a man. And therefore, he saw that now she completed as soon as Rivka came, she completed the Shechina. That's why it's 13 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. Now, following the question of the Zohar here, it says the Zohar, it should have not said Ha'oheila. The two He's are coming for a drasha. So I'm going to remove them. And we're just going to say Oihel. Okay, I'm going to remove that. Oihel Sarah Imon. You know what it's equal to this? There we go. You can see the correlation. The thread is following right now. The fact that he brought her to the Oihel and he realized the Shechina, the tikkun of the Shechina could be done. Again, for us, meaning that when we daven Shemona Esrei, this is when we're starting the tikkun of the Shechina. Everything we say before Shemona Esrei is only a preparation for the Shechina. But when we get to Shemona Esrei, this is when we bring up the Shechina to its level. Sorry, I lost the connection. No. This is when we bring it. Everything with words, and we can do it. So you see, Yitzchak, his main concern in his life was exactly this. And we're not done. Sorry, it was my shoe. Here it is. When Sarah says that after my passing, I will have a youth again, I can just put it here. Everything is related to this. Everything, if anything that a person wants, and he has in mind to complete the Shechina, automatically he is answered. This is the Sbula that we learn from Yitzchak Avinu. We have many demands. We have many needs. The person goes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and asks them selfishly, please give me, but what do you do for Hashem? You have to trade. So what is a trade? The trade is, I'm going to complete the Shechina, because when the Shechina, it's almost like you have the Kala and you prepare her for going into the Chuppah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very grateful to the person who prepares the Kala, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks the Kala who prepared you, bring them into the Chuppah with you. What means the Chuppah? The Chuppah is under the brachas. Can dig again more on Beloisi to prove my point, but I think my point is proven just with these. It cannot be in any probabilities that we've been finding this number, non-stop. The Zohar warns, stresses that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was behind. You see, the tikkun of Avram and Sarah was a tikkun in the nefesh, on themselves. They were always endangered personally, their life. By Yitzchak and Rivka, or more precisely, Rivka and Yaakov, because now Rivka is going to be Chava, so she's the second Gilgul of Chava, and Yaakov will be Adam Arishon. Yitzchak is not Adam Arishon. Yitzchak is Oila Tanima. He went already to Gan Eden. He cannot be blemished. He has no blemish, and he cannot accept anything that's blemished. So he cannot be the Gilgul of he was like, did he correct something in it? Yeah, in Adam Rishon? Yes, the Ruach. Which means something you don't feel because he cannot contain it. But Yaakov Avinu will be Adam Rishon. Now, Rivka will recognize, the Zohar says that Rivka, remember we spoke about this Gamal, the Nachash, she fell off? Well, let me tell you now what's going on. What's the story behind the story? She saw Yitzchak Avinu, and then she threw herself from the camel. She said, this tzaddik doesn't deserve to have a son, a Rasha like Esau. Because she knew already, she had Ruach HaKodesh, she knew she would have a son, which is a tremendous Rasha, in which the Nachash will be staying. The tzaddik will have Adam, Nachash. That's what we're going to have. So we're going to have a second time as we had Sarah, Avram, Aroy, the meeting of the three Adam, Chava, and the Nachash. Here we have again Yaakov, Rivka, and Esau. So she said, look, I don't want to have a Rasha like Esau. So she fell from, the word Nephila comes, the root is Napoil, Nepel, like a miscarriage. She wanted this Nephila to be considered a miscarriage so she would not have Esau. But what happens when I'm going to take it from the end to the beginning to tell you the Midrash in the Yalkut Shimoni at the same time, because it's a tremendous knowledge. When Yitzchak got married and lived with Rivka, he realized she had no besulim. He said, what happened to you? He said, when I fell from the camel, I fell on a piece of wood and I lost my besulim. Okay. He says, you're a liar. The Eved that brought you here, on the way, he touched you. She swore that not true. And she said, I can show you where the wood is. When she fell, the Midrash says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Malach Gavriel, go and stand by this blood so it doesn't coagulate. It remains fresh. And when Yitzchak Avinu saw the blood on the wood, he says, she's Tehora. Indeed, I trust her. She was never touched by anyone. I mean, this Midrash raises another billions of questions. You see the Shechina on the Ohel, you see your mother Sarah, and you think this will happen to a woman that was fooling around. Come on, but let's not go there. The story behind the story. The Nephel, if you take the word Nephel, which is a miscarriage, a baby in miscarriage, equals 160. If you take the word AIDS, equals 160. Hashem spoke to her and explained her. Yes, she wanted to force the future. Yes, she wanted to force an outcome. I said, no. I need Esau. I need to have the Nachash again here because I need the correction of the brachas. I need the brachas to go back to Adam Arishain, to Yaakov Avinu, to bring them back to the world. And in order to do that, I need to take the Nachash and I need to quick his head. You see, in the same message, in the same Nefila, in the same falling, her intention and the intention of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because she didn't have to fall on a piece of wood. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to show your intention is Nefel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed his intention is also 116, but it's 8. We need the Eitz Hadas there. We need to be able to correct it. So, what do I learn from this? A person, when he looks at life, usually, because we have eyes and we have some chokhmah and understanding, you're looking forward. You say, who is the chacham who looks at the consequences? Meaning, I have to start raising my eyes and look out there. Wrong. Because you're going to plan and you're going to try to create an outcome. This outcome may not be what HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided for you in this life. You don't know what's your best. Questions are on this side of the world where we live. All the answers are ready for us and makes total sense when we have them, but they're on the other side of the world, of the wall. Whoever is looking for answers has to go to the other side. Whoever is fine and trusting Hashem and can live with a question is fine in his life. But a person who demands too many answers, Hashem helps him, and at the end of the day, he gets all the answers. And then everything becomes clear to him what happened in his life and what was the purpose. So this is the story of the Gomer. But it goes one step further here, and I'm going to bring you the answer. We said that "13 times Keye," the name of the Bina, is completeness, because you're reaching what we saw last week, what Shara Chamishim, the 50th between Pesach and Shavuos, you have 50 days. Each day is one gate of the gates of the Bina. There are 50 gates in there. And the 50th, exactly like the 7 times 7 years. And the 50th is the Yovel. And Yovel is in the Bina. Sorry. So here also, it's the Bina. Now, if you remember, we didn't understand what it means, ve'ele toldos. We started asking questions about why ve'ele toldos. Because ve'ele toldos equals 888. Ooh, what a number. 888. 888 equals 8 times Aleph, the letter Aleph. It's equal also to the words we say before we start Shemona Esrei, Hashem, Adoi. So we write it with the Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. So we ask the Malchus, please open your gate so we can go it. Hashem, Tiftach. Tiftach equals 888. Because the Malchus gives you directly access to its mother, which is the Bina. The higher mother, the lower mother, the Shechina, the Bina on top. And this is where we started davening, because all the bounties come from the Bina. So Yitzchak Avinu, the Pasuk tells us that Yitzchak Avinu was longing for again what only his mother was able to do. The Shara Chamishim was able to correct with her tefillah, with her work, with her avodah, that he was unable to do. And that's why right after, instead of speaking about the descendants of Yitzchak Avinu, first of all, they were not born, so there was no, it doesn't apply. We asked the Lashon, doesn't apply. He speaks about the Rivka that he marries because she is the one able to do it. So the pasuk here came very, very weird language in order to point us that the whole purpose here is to show us how to do a personal avodah. And just to summarize it, don't look out there. There are questions, you know, you're going to start looking, put your head down, leave the moment. You can control, you can daven for the moment. You can daven for the future, but you cannot control the future. You think you're going to push an outcome with your logic, with everything, you're totally wrong. Even Rivka Imenu, which had a Ruach HaKodesh, thought she can control the having Esav or not having Esav, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed her his will that was that Esav should be born. Another thing I would like to show on the Ve'ele Toldos, so it becomes even clearer. Where is this here? So we had a question on this Ve'ele Toldos. The words of the Zohar are coming right out. He hints us that the very Rivka that we're going to speak about, she's the Gilgul of Sarah. And now we understand, since she's a Gilgul of Sarah, therefore she looked exactly like her. She was not just a Gilgul in terms of being a Gilgul, like some people are, you know, you have a little part of the thing. She was totally Sarah. Totally Sarah. Which he calls, you see today, it's only the number 13. 13 times time, life. I mean, infinite life. What Sarah says, I will be coming back because Sarah is the Shechina. Sarah doesn't die. The Shechina is here forever. It's 13 times life. I wanted to give you one more gematria before here we ask the question on Yitzchak ben Avraham. I'll give you two gematrias just to finish the Shabbos. So we know Yitzchak is ben Avraham. No, so if he tells me Yitzchak ben Avraham, he comes to tell me something. 508. 508 equals exactly how the miracle was done in Mitzrayim. We received Yada Chazaka, the strong hand coming from the Gvura, and he was also Ubizroya, and Israel is written with that above in the Parasha, and Tuya. Yitzchak Avinu gave the power to the Bnei Israel, because we're going to say, oh, we needed a Rivka to fight the Nachash and everything. No, there's two Nechashim, Paroi and Abimelech, Esav and Amalek, Esav and Ishmael. They're all the same Nechashim. They're always the two Nachash. And here are the two strengths we have to use, which is Lasuach, take the same Shakai, and to be able to whip the Nachash and to win it. With what? Lasuach is Tefillah. That's the power of the Bnei Israel. When we're going to get to Hakol Kol Yaakov, I'm going to show you something in that passage. Okay, I like it. So in that case, why it's repeated Avram Hoili des Yitzchak. Avram gave birth to Yitzchak. Look at it. That's beautiful. That's amazing. This equals to 912. One less than Bereshis. So you can make it basically, I have a better one than this. When he says he gave birth to Yitzchak, means he implemented in Yitzchak the schus and the power to have Yaakov, Rachel, and Leah. Rachel and Leah, which are the Malchus, representing and protecting the Shechina. Yaakov, which is the Tiferes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls Yaakov a god, Kel. And forgot which pasuk here in this Parasha, 13 times 31. Let me see which pasuk, maybe I remember by the number, because I know it's 13 times 31. Kel equals, oh yeah, Yaakov ibn Hakatan. When Rivka is going to take the cloth from Esau ben Hagadol, Esau, the older son. And we know the Esau is a Bechora. Vatal and she put it on Yaakov ben Hakatan, on Yaakov, her young son. What's Yaakov, her young son? I'm not going to speak about Esau now. Just to finish on this. Equals 403. 403 is 13 times the name Kel, Aleph Lamed, because Yaakov was completed himself. That's why Yaakov called him, Chazal says on the Pasuk, Vayikra, he called him Kel. Yaakov, you're a Kel. You elevated yourself. So that's why Yaakov and Rachel and Leah came this holy Yitzchak. That's the power that Avram gave into Yitzchak. We're not talking about him being the son and being the father and trying to mingle with this, not at all. It tells us what when he gave birth to Yitzchak, what power did he put in him? And he was to have Yaakov and Rachel and Leah, which are basically the completion of the Shekhinah and the completion of the Tikkun and the completion of the Tikkun of Adam, Marisha, and Chava. Amen.
Shkoyach.
Okay.